Updrafts, downdrafts, cold drafts. Welcome to the superpilotish channel. My name is Graham Wilson, and today in my basement, I'm going to be talking all about thunderstorms. I was going to do my AC/DC thunder kind of imitation, but I decided against that. Anyways, talking about thunderstorms because we're supposed to be getting some kind of thunderstorm around here today, maybe. They don't know. So let's get into it. I was going to call this show Thunderstorms 101, but then I Googled it and National Geographic already has that taken. So it's like, hey, a guy in his basement's got to be better than National Geographic, right? So I'll just call it Thunderstorms Made Easy because I don't really know how many people have had that much experience learning about meteorology or anything. Do they even teach that in high school? I don't remember getting taught that in high school or grade school, or I don't know. Maybe I think I remember seeing something like a cloud and there's like little arrows and it goes up. Here's a cloud, rains, goes back into the lake, and then it goes into the ocean and I don't know, some little arrows or something. But I got my whiteboard here today. Got lots of backup markers, and we're gonna get to the bottom of this. So, yeah, basically, when it comes to thunderstorms, you got to work on the principle that hot air rises, right? So it rises up a lot, turns into a thunderstorm. Thank you. Good night. No, no, that's basically it. So, but I'll explain it a little bit more for you. So, like as a pilot, you have to learn a lot about the weather because you're flying through it, or ideally you're trying to avoid it. So, yeah, so it's like hot air, it rises. I think everybody kind of knows that. I hope everybody knows that. And then, yeah, goes up there, cools off, turns into rain. Hey, done. So let's get into it with the whiteboard, and we'll kind of make it a bit more visual so you can hopefully remember how to stay out of a thunderstorm, I guess. I will use it in the, what is that? Landscape portrait view here. Yeah, just because we're going to have stuff going up. So let's say we got my excellent drawing skills again. We have the ground. Always start with the line. And let's try a little guy over here on the ground. I'm pretty good at doing stick airplanes and stick men. So there we go. There's the stick man on the ground. And so what's going to happen here? We're going to have, now there's different reasons why hot air rises. How does that warm air get up there? So it could be just like, you're out on the prairies. The sun is heating up the ground. Okay, we'll say the sun's heating up the ground here. It's getting a little bit warm. That's why I usually see these thunderstorms kind of in the afternoon, because everything gets really hot. Everything starts rising. So here we go. Let's see the heat waves. Ooh, we got the heat waves. The ground is warming up. Doesn't that look warm? So yeah, so it heats up the air, and then so that's one way of the air getting up there. And that's really kind of the way the thunderstorms are formed. Other things could be like wind, and wind pushes into the mountain and the mountain pushes things up, but that doesn't really cause thunderstorms too much because there's not a whole lot of oomph pushing it up there. You might get some rain, but not gigantic thunderstorms. So here we are. Our our hot air is rising. Ooh. Now it's getting throughout the day. Look at that. More hot air rising. Oh, should I bring out the umbrella just yet? I'm not sure. Oh, hey, Shecky, good morning. So actually, it's afternoon for me, but morning where you are. That's all right. So good morning to you, Shecky. Yeah, so we got our hot air rising throughout the day. And with that, there's the more moist the air is, then there's more rain that can come from it. So let's just say maybe there was some rain last night, or there was a thunderstorm last night. It's done, but then now there's still water and puddles everywhere and everything, and now it's heating up and evaporating. So up into the air the moisture goes again. I think that's kind of what they taught us in school, like that little circle thing I was talking about with the arrows. All right, so now we're gonna start. Whoop! Oh boy, we just started a cloud. Nothing but the finest clouds drawings here on the Super Pilotish channel. There we go. Cloud, you see that throughout the day, right? You wake up in the morning, blue sky, not a cloud in the sky. And then as soon as you say that, you look around and you're like, oh, yeah, there's a little one. There's a little one. And then throughout the day, you get more and more of these little guys here. And it keeps getting hotter and hotter. So up she goes even more. And it might even be getting bigger. Ooh, we got lots of poofy clouds here, getting bigger and bigger. Is it raining yet? No, that's still the heat. You know what? I'm gonna erase that here now, because it kind of looks like rain, and that's gonna mess up my whole my whole story here. Okay, that heat is like, all right. We'll assume that we can't see that heat anymore. Hey, we just got our little poofy cloud there, our little cumulus cloud, as it's called, and then it gets bigger and bigger throughout the day. It's getting hotter and hotter, and it's going to be thunderstorm time. So let's just say the wind is kind of blowing this way, and if you ever see, so this is going to get way up there, so way up, way up where the big jets fly and everything like that. So we're going to have a great big thing. And now it hits some really strong winds that are way up there. So it's always stronger wind way up there than on the ground. That's just the way it works. And so that's going to blow our poofy cloud off to the side, kind of. There we go. Actually, that looks kind of phallic. That's not too cool. Let's make it look a little bit more poofy. Okay, that's not. Okay, we got lots of. All right, there we go. There's your clouds. Actually, that's not too bad. And so now we got it way up here. It hits the super strong winds, and they make this. If you ever see something where it's kind of, it goes up to a certain level, it's a little more flat on the top, and it goes off to the end like that. So that's kind of like half of an anvil, right? If you had that, both sides. They call that the anvil cloud. And that is the biggest type of thunderstorm. So the higher it is, the more power it's got in it, right? So there's our anvil super thunderstorm. And so what's happening here is that it could be raining. It might be like kind of misty and raining even within the cloud, and you couldn't even really see it. And then it gets kind of hot, and then it kind of evaporates back up. And then so you're also pulling in a bunch of hot air. The hot air is going into the bottom and coming up. So you could be having some rain here, and it's pulling up so much that all of a sudden the little tiny water droplets are just tiny there, and they get pushed back up again. And then now they're starting to freeze because it goes up really high, like the top of Mount Everest. It's really cold up. This is like Mount Everest altitude. And so it turns into ice, and it's like, oh, it's kind of heavy. It comes back down again, and then whoop, we got some more stronger winds and pushes it back up. So if it's going back up and down like that, our little water molecule is getting bigger and bigger. Now it's turning into like pea size and then golf ball size, and whoop, there's your hail. So yeah, so it kind of goes up and down. There's updrafts, downdrafts here. Like we got our updrafts here. Might be a downdraft in the middle. Might even start raining here. But you could also have it where it comes up here and your water, there could be a bunch of stuff shooting off here. Like that. So you could have hail coming over here. You could have freezing rain coming out here because it's so cold up there. So that's where you got to be careful if you are in an airplane flying around. All right. That's supposed to be an airplane. So if you're flying around there, you could be getting whacked with some hail. You could be whacked with some freezing rain. That could build up on you. And you're flying where the weather's just fine, but you don't notice it, but you're getting kind of pelted with this, with the freezing rain anyways. And that's very dangerous. So you want to stay, the bigger the cloud, the further away you want to stay from it. And then you're down here on the ground. Maybe you'll get your umbrella. I haven't drawn an umbrella in years. Yeah, that's not bad. All right, there's a really good umbrella there. So you're cool. You're staying nice and dry, but eventually it's gonna get windy, windy, windy because here comes your storm coming this way, and your umbrella goes like this, and this sucks when that happens. Oh, you just busted your umbrella. Time to get another one at the drugstore. So, anyways, yeah, that's pretty useless. Now you're gonna get rained on. There's gonna be really heavy winds because of all this rain. Okay, you got all this rain here, and that's pushing stuff down, and that's going to create uh, the wind. It comes down with the rain, and it's going to, you know how you always get that big gust of wind before you get the rain. Well, that's what it is. This is coming towards you, and the rain's coming down, forcing the air here. You get your wind blowing your umbrella away, and then this you get rained on by by the rain that's coming this way towards you. So there we go. That's kind of how it works. And yeah, well, if you want to get fancy, they call that the gust front. Ooh. Yeah, you actually have to know that for the test when you're learning how to fly. So that's how it all kind of works together in very excellent artistic fashion. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I didn't really have too much to tell you other than Oh, and then as far as thunder and lightning, I think everybody kind of knows that. That's if you have all these different temperatures and all these different pressures and temperatures and everything like that, that can build up static electricity. Don't fly your plane around here. You might get zapped. But I did a video a little while ago about getting hit by lightning if you're flying your plane. Apparently, it's pretty common, and really, it doesn't really do that much. Usually it goes out the wingtips and dissipates, and you don't even know that you got hit by lightning. I didn't know that, but I don't really fly the big jets, and ideally for pilots out there, if you see anything like this, put the plane in the hangar and don't go flying. There you go. The big jets, it's actually not so bad for those guys because they can fly up pretty high. They will pick up all this stuff. They have radar in their airplane, little airplanes. Some have radar, but most don't. And then so they can see where that's happening and they can just navigate well around it. And you could also tell, well, if the wind's blowing this way, I'm not going to fly my jet on that side of the storm. I'm going to try to get on this side of the storm. And then, up nice and high, go around it. You're not underneath any of the rain. Like that's kind of the danger zone there. That's the highway to the danger zone. So, yeah, that's kind of how that works. Stay safe, stay on the ground. Just cancel your flight, whatever. And yeah, usually all that stuff is uh, it's all pretty avoidable. The only time where it's not avoidable, and this is how you're going to get your flight canceled, is it say you got this, but it's not just one isolated cell. It's like a whole line because there's like I don't know, either a cold front or a warm front kind of coming through, and it's all that big and all that rainy and all that yucky on the radar. And if there's a whole line there, airplanes can't get through there, and it's up so high they can't even go over top of it if it's that strong. So your flight's canceled, womp womp, until it kind of dissipates, and you also they don't. It might break up into two. You'll have a hole through the middle, but it's got to be a pretty good size hole to get a plane through there because you don't know what's happening. But once you're up in the air, you can actually kind of see it's different than on the ground. I've seen thunderstorms off in the distance where I'm flying around, and I don't know, maybe up 3,000 feet, not even that high. And you get a much better view from the front, from the cockpit, and you can see, oh yeah, that one's building up. Oh, that looks pretty good over there. Oh, that's just some little stuff. I'll go over there. So if you're out in front, you can look out the window and see what's going on, and you got your radar if you're in your big jet, and you got pilot reports, PIREPs as they call it. So anytime there's some severe turbulence, or if there's any like I've reported it too, where I was picking up a little bit of clear ice, always report that so that you can you put out the PIREP. You tell your air traffic controller, "Hey, I'm picking up light rime ice or light, very light clear ice at this altitude at this location." And they put that out there for all the pilots to know about. So, oh, okay, the conditions there should be good to fly in. Oh, but we got reports of ice, so that's no good. So, or so the big jets can handle a little bit of ice, but little planes not so much. So, oh well, there's a little bit about thunderstorms. Yak, yak, yak. Yeah, so I just had a little bit to talk about today because I got to beat the thunderstorm because we're going over to my neighbor's house to trim some of the trees and pull off some vines and do a bunch of heavy work. Well, not heavy work, but just yeah, just kind of helping out a neighbor today, do a little bit of yard work. And then I got to get out there before the thunderstorms come. So there we go. Nice, clean whiteboard. Good instructors always clean off their whiteboards when they're done, even for the next person, and it prevents ghosting. There we go. Oh. There you go. Cool. And yeah, just a little one today. Not really too much. I kind of suspected today wouldn't be the greatest show because I had such a great show last. The last one was with Chad Elkins, the accountant. I had a really good time doing that interview, and contact me if you want me to interview you too, because then I don't have to come up with the topic. But usually, if I have a really good show, the next one's going to be. And that's actually, I did a video about that. How if you do a good landing in your plane, the next one's not going to be that great, and it just kind of has to do with what do they call that? Something to the mean, divergence to the mean. I forget. Well, there's like you got a certain level of performance, and then if you have a really good one, the next one's going to be worse, but it'll probably be just at your average, but it'll seem worse. So, anyways, I think I was average today, and yeah, thanks, Shecky. I will always take a comment. Thank you, sir. The interview was good. Yep. So you want to check that out? It's getting some okay views, so I'm pretty happy about that. And yeah, cool. All right, so that means I got to go over to the neighbors now and beat the storm and get all, I don't know, dirty and sweaty and covered in vines and leaves and everything. So, okay, cool. Thank you very much, Shecky, and thanks for showing up. I do appreciate it when people show up in the chat. So, okay, so excellent. Today is Wednesday. Okay, that's great. So I'll be back on Friday because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern, and we'll just kind of shut her down. So thank you for watching and stay dry. Bye.